Hello, my name is Andrews Ankra.
And my name is Hira Kamar. This is our GUI. It contains all the features that were required for this project. We have divided this into two sections. This is the 2D section, this is the 3D, and that's the plotting. We also have a menu editor over here which would essentially save the data. We have three options for that: save the solution, save the X data, save the Y data, and three options for loading the data. Here, this is the place where the user is going to enter the order they want, and they're going to choose the different the method they want to use to solve the problem, the linear set of equations. After that, they have two options that they can choose from. They can run this experiment without the hardware, or they can run it with the hardware, but they can only choose one option. For the 3D, they are not going to have any option. So when the user wants to run the 3D experiment, they are going to click over here, enter the COM port that is available, and click OK. When they do that, the 2D part is going to disappear, only the 3D part is going to remain. And for each point of data that they're going to collect, they would need to hit enter, so we are able to collect data properly.
Okay, go.
For the 2D part, as I said before, the user has two options: run without the hardware and run with the hardware. When they choose run with the hardware, they would again have to enter the COM port which is available, and the 3D part is going to disappear. After the user puts the order and choose the method and runs the hardware, then they are going to be presented with the X data, Y data, the solution, and the plot, which would have the data plotted.
Oh.
Okay. Now I'll run you through an example of how to carry on the experiment without the hardware hooked up. So let's say I want third order model, and I choose inverse method. Then I would go here, choose this option. The 3D disappears. This is a wait bar which shows that the data is being collected. Now here you can see that we have the X data, Y data, solutions, and the plot.
Okay.
Now we'll run this experiment with the hardware hooked up. So I'm going to choose second order model, choose Gaussian elimination with pivoting. I'm going to come down here, choose the option which says run with hardware. The COM port available is 4, so I'm going to choose that, click OK.
And so now you are getting ready to read the points, and for each step is going to be an increment of 3 centimeters. So you're waiting for the readings right now. The first point is read, and then you move to the next point, and then the third point, and that closes it. And from the graph, we are actually expecting that the intensity will decrease as we moved away from the light source, and it's as evident from the plots here, the intensity is actually decreasing. So it seems to conform to whatever you were expecting.
Now we'll run the 3D experiment. The COM port available is 4, so I'm going to enter that, press OK. The way we have set this up is that at every point that you want to collect, you would have to press a key so that we get accurate readings.
So to do this, we created a 5 by 5 inch grid, and that will give us approximately like 25 points. So we are going to take the first point, and we make sure that we center the light at the middle of the grid so that the intensity will vary as we go outside the grid, like outside the center of the grid. So we are going to take our first point. So we are positioning this at our very first point, which we believe to be 1, 1. And then we hit enter, take the reading, move to the second one, take the reading, move to the third one, take the reading. So we do this for 25 times.
This is our code that we use to program the GUI. It has a lot of callbacks that we used, and we also use pop-up menu editors, and tables, which helped us get our GUI.
And this is the hardware that we use for our setup for our system. We have the Arduino right here, and then we have our light sensor right here. And in order to protect our light sensor from excessive current, we put a 330 ohm resistor across it so that the current will be correctly arranged. And we have our this end of the setup going to the ground, and then we have one wire connecting the light sensor to our analog grid A0, and then we have the third wire going to the ground. So this completes the circuits. So after taking the 25 points at the various grades, this is the final 3D plot that we had. And as you can look, we were actually expecting high intensity at the middle of the grade where we had the light centered, and it seems like our plot seems to confirm that, except for one exception at 5.5. But other than that, I think it conformed to what we actually expected.